All right, let's talk about the significance of the title Black, White, and Blue. What does that mean?
Um, well, the black obviously represented the black people, white America, and blue for the police. Because at the time we started the film, police brutality was a major issue on social media. And actually, social media was the genesis of this project. There was so much activity going on social media with Black Lives Matter and everything, that I felt like I wanted to do something visually to capture the moment and to bring balance to the discussion, because it seemed to be one-sided a lot on social media, and I kind of like wanted everybody to have a say-so, because the black community is not a monolith, and there's different views, but social media tends to be saturated with one perspective. And I just wanted to give everybody a chance to have their say. So that's why I did the film, yeah.
Was it hard getting different people from different backgrounds, different political views to talk on camera?
Yeah, it's just hard getting people on camera, period, man. I reached out to a lot of people, and ultimately, the only people I could get were the ones who were willing to participate, obviously. I really wanted Thomas Sowell on there, right? I mean, to me, he's the preeminent black male conservative. And I think it's a tragedy that conservatives tend to only speak to white audiences, because they have some valid arguments, and I wanted to include that, but no conservatives, not many, even responded. They ignored me. And it was mostly liberals who were willing to get on camera, at least people who hold liberal positions. So for me, as an objective filmmaker, I had to try to do my best to bring balance to the film and not make it more of the same,
Why do you think conservatives have a hard time speaking to black audiences?
Accountability. I think conservatives, they emphasize accountability, and liberals emphasize a victim narrative. So they're diametrically opposed, man. It's like, and the truth is somewhere in the middle, but both sides are like at polar opposites. So it's kind of hard to get it together. And for me, just my personal opinion, I think a lot of conservatives, black conservatives, they know what they have to say in order to get their check. And the same goes for the black liberals. So you never really get a complete picture of what the issues are, because everyone is pandering to some degree. I mean, that's how they get their tenureship at colleges, book deals, the guest appearances on CNN or wherever, because it's a narrative that's beneficial. So you don't even know how true or how complete the perspective is that you're getting when these people talk. As far as conservatives go, Thomas Sowell and others, they say a lot of things I agree with. I just wish that they would have the opportunity to say those things in a way palatable for the black community, and not in a way that would offend us, much like Bill Cosby did with his pound cake speech. I don't think Bill Cosby was wrong. I just think maybe his delivery could have been a little different. And that's the thing, It's hard enough for us to take responsibility for our actions, but when we're told in a way that's sort of abrasive and indicts us, the reaction is going to be negative. You know, I think, look at Bill. Bill did a lot of great things for black people. But because of that one speech, people turned on him, you know, and never really forgave him. I mean, it's a touchy thing. But again, with the film, I would have loved to have conservatives in the film just to bring both sides of the issue and to present a more complete conversation to the viewing audience.
How's the film been received by academics and pundits?
You know, I'm not sure how it's been received by academics, but one thing I do know is if there were any flaws or opportunities to knock the film, people would have taken it, and they don't. The film, people are scared of the film, in my opinion. They don't want to draw any attention to it. They don't want to talk about it in a good way or a bad way. But the great thing is the viewer response is tremendous. On Amazon right now, I think it has 4.7 stars. And it's been reviewed by a lot of people. And the thing is, the reviews are coming from a broad spectrum of people. Very diverse. Whites, blacks, everybody. I can tell you who don't like the film.
Who's that?
Feminists, specifically black feminists, and black LGBT.
Why do you think that is?
You know, because primarily from what I see on social media, black feminists and black LGBT are in alignment with the white liberal power structure and what that power structure deems important to black people at the moment. And in so many ways, it seems like they are co-opting the civil rights movement. And what the film did was take everything back to square one. And what these people are doing right now is they're making gay rights synonymous with civil rights. And the black feminists and black LGBT, they are in full alignment with the white feminists and the white LGBT. So to me, and some people may not like this, but I think their blackness doesn't come first. At least the ones who are politically active. Because I'm sure they're not a monolith either. You understand? I'm sure there's black feminists who see what I see and black LGBT who see what I see. But the most prominent ones, the most vocal ones, are clearly tools of the white liberal power structure.
Do you think because they're so vocal and because they're so outspoken that they kind of overshadow people who may have differences of opinion even in those communities?
It's a matter of access. You got to take a guy like D. Ray McKesson, the face of Black Lives Matter, an openly gay black man. If you pay attention to social media, you would think that his influence was very great. But when he ran for mayor in his own city, he got less than 3% of the vote. Like, social media creates a false reality in some respects. D. Ray visited the White House maybe 6 times, at least 5, to talk to Obama, and nobody in his own city cared what he got to say or anything. So to me, the social media is being used as a way to make perception become reality. It's not a reflection of reality. And then you would have somebody like a president of the United States involved in validating a man like D. Ray to make that perception seem even more real, because the obvious conclusion, if you see somebody going to the White House 5 or 6 times to talk to a president, is this person must be important. But the reality is they're not, you know. And since I mentioned that, let me also say, the fact that Obama had so much time to sit down with a nobody like D-Ray, I started questioning him. Like, how are you the president of the United States and you got that much time for this guy? Shouldn't you have more important things to do? You know? To me, it just makes everything questionable.
Okay. You touched on police brutality and the history of police brutality in America in the film. Do you see any, and you mentioned Obama, do you see any politicians or anybody in legislative positions doing anything to really change the structure of that in the public?
Well, let me be honest, right? I've had interactions with the police, and I have a lot of friends who've had interactions with the police. I don't consider police brutality the top of the list of things we should be concerned with. I just don't. I've been assaulted by the police, and I feel that way. And the reason why is, you talk to the average person who's talking about police brutality, they've never been arrested, they've never been brutalized by the police. They don't even know anybody who's been killed by the police. You know what I mean? And that's not to say it's not a problem. I just think as a people, we are constantly focusing on issues that aren't the most important. The most important issue for me that I see for us is economic. Because once we get that together, economically, we can run our own candidates. We can decide who the police chief is. When you have that kind of power, the police will treat you different. You take Brooklyn, New York. There have been incidents in Brooklyn where the Hasidic community disapproved of the police action and stormed the precinct and assaulted the police. And no Hasidics were killed or anything. Charges filed, nothing. And that is a direct result of their political clout. It's not because they march or hashtag activism, because again, police brutality is important. I got a son. I would hate for him to be a victim of police brutality. But I understand the best way to counter that is through acquired power and influence. People treat you differently when they understand that you could affect their livelihood.
Do you see any street level or grassroots activists affecting any sort of change outside of political power, established political power?
There's a lot of groups, and a lot of them are well intentioned, and I don't know how effective they are. Some probably more than others. But again, it goes back to economics. If we got groups, we need to be funding them. Because if other people are funding our groups, they get to dictate what our priorities should be. And whatever group you have or you belong to, those dictates should be organic, not external. And again, when you start talking about groups like Black Lives Matter and other groups, where's the money coming from? And that's important, not because I'm worried about how much money or pocket watching, because whoever has the purse strings is controlling it. So are our organizations black just in face and name alone? Or are they authentically black? My film, Black, White, and Blue, funded by black people, produced by black people, directed by a black woman. Love it or hate it, this is an authentic black independent film. This isn't 12 Years a Slave. This isn't Birth of a Nation. This isn't any of the plethora of documentaries that have been done about black trauma, and all the production companies, directors, producers, and dozens of staff members are all white. profiting off of black pain. This isn't that. You go into IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database, and you put in any black documentary, from Trayvon Martin to Central Park 5 or whatever. Every last one of them is a black production company. My film should be embraced and upheld of what we can do when we put our mind to it. But there's a trend in our community that we talk about self-reliance, but it seems like a lot of these people really want is a white daddy. That's what it seems like to me. If it ain't white, it ain't right. They gonna talk about black this and black that. I'm blacker than any of them. I did my own black film. I went to Detroit. I met Senator Coleman Young, who was a state senator. His father was the legendary Coleman Young, the first black mayor of Detroit, mayor for 20 years. Coleman's in my film. I liked his energy so much that when he ran for mayor, I backed him. Ended up being the largest single contributor to his campaign. And this is a guy I just met when I was filming Black, White, and Blue. But why did I do that? Because Detroit's an 85% black city. And the white mayor was a write-in candidate. And I saw black people in Detroit saying, we don't want no more black mayors. On TV, I saw the head of the NAACP, a black man, endorse the write-in white mayor with these words: he's not the white mayor, he's the right mayor. So when I see black people who talk about racism and systemic racism and white supremacy all day, when I see them behaving like that, somebody got to step up and show us that, you know what, we don't really need outside help. We have the means to do it on our own. And I got nothing against white people. Some of my breaks come from white people. You understand what I'm saying? But it's a thing that is much needed, because we don't seem to have that kind of faith in ourselves that we can do for ourselves. As much as we talk, it just seems to come from a space of, somebody please help me. I'm afraid.
We can move that. We can talk about, there's a lot of conversation right now about reparations and what that looks like, what's even going to happen. Give me your thoughts on that.
Look, you know, it's funny, right? Reparations. I don't think it's ever going to happen. To me, it's not even an issue of whether we deserve it or not. That's not my conversation. What is the likelihood of it happening? Slim to none. And Slim just left town. You know, we were supposed to get reparations during the Reconstruction. It would have been cheaper and everything. As you saw in the film, Dr. Leonard Jeffries said they were giving land to white immigrants and gave us nothing but an empty bag of tricks. He said that in the film, on camera, and this is a fact. If we didn't get it 150 years ago, what made people think it's going to happen now? You know, after slavery, I think there was 4 million slaves freed. Mm-hmm. We talking about 35 million people right now. You know what I mean? After slavery, there was like 4 million freed slaves, man. Like,
and I think it's about right down the middle between men and women. And now it's, it's really diverse. You got children, older people, across generations.
Look, man, it would have been so much. Again, I'm not sitting here telling you we don't deserve it. What I'm telling you is, when I assess the situation, I just don't believe it's going to happen. And because I don't believe it's going to happen, that's not where I put my energy at all. I don't have time. There's a lot of people in our community, charlatans, modern day snake oil salesmen. And what they're selling is not snake oil, they're selling false hope. I don't want to be that guy.
All right, and then we'll wrap up with this. What do you want African Americans and Americans in general to take away from the film?
All we got is us. And whether that's true or not, that's how we need to function in life. We need to have each other back, man. We need to, whether we women, whether we LGBT, anything, we need to realize that we have a commitment to each other before we have a commitment to anybody else. And that's not a racist statement, because charity starts at home. We got to look out for each other, man. We really do. And we got to support each other, especially when we're doing things that involves the community and benefits the community. For example, the more of us that succeed in business, the more of us who are in a position to employ each other. We can't keep talking about black businesses and not supporting them when we have them. We can't keep talking about black filmmakers and don't support them, or black journalists and don't support them, or black magazines and don't support them. We can't, we gotta build, man. We gotta rebuild our economic and social infrastructure that was dismantled through integration of all things. The only thing that got integrated was our economy, period.
All right.
That's it?
That's it.
We good?
We're very good.
All right, bro.